what's up? It's me, JGB. I am here to explain what's been going on. I started putting stuff out to the world, which feels really good. I've put a lot of time into side hustle stuff past 3 weekends. I've been creating graphics. I've been conceptualizing this project. I've been recording segments and doing some editing. And the whole vision was to take all these segments and splice them together to tell a story through one episode. So the episode would consist of a digital story at the beginning, a little music montage, and then it would segue into a segment about the highlights over the last 2 months, and then it would segue into things that I've learned, lessons learned, and then we've got progress tracking and goals. Like there's all this stuff that I have this vision for, and I was going to sew them all together, ending with stats, and then I was going to release this episode, and it's going to be a monthly episode. So here's the concept. The concept is I'm trying to tell an ongoing story that tracks the creative process of building a personal brand, building an online following. I want to be able to come up with a show structure that is telling this story of how this is happening. I have so much trouble explaining this. It's all trapped in my head and I'm trying to bring it to life. So as you can see, we're fumbling. We're like trying to figure this out. What does it look like? So I created all these segments, created all the graphics, I recorded, and then I like spliced in the graphics, and it felt really good recording it. That's one thing, is I've tried a few different ways to do that, and some of them feel like awkward and not me, and they feel posed, and so I moved away from that, and I was able to do more of this like one-on-one talking to you right there as my audience, and that feels better. And I've sort of figured out how to splice things in. I'm editing on my phone, which I didn't realize I would enjoy and could do very quickly. So all in all, I've just been throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. And then once I had all these segments put together, I started to sew them together into this episode, which ended up being like 40 minutes of content. Like, I don't even want to watch 40 minutes of content of me talking to a camera. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So I'd set this launch date for Friday, and I was like, Jess, deliver. We have to hit this goal. It's all part of the process. And so I like, what the fuck? I can't put this out. It doesn't make sense. I don't want to put out a 40-minute video. And so, I probably should just put out that 40-minute video, and then we move on and we change it and we see what form it turns into in the next little while. But instead, I realized these segments work really great on their own. Like, why am I trying to create one piece of content when I could have multiple pieces of content, which makes way more sense as a strategy? So now I'm shifting into this, like, okay, maybe at the end of every month or the beginning of every month, I do the stats segment. And then maybe I do the goal segment and the tracking progress segment at different times. So now I'm seeing this more as like segment pieces. So I'm going to start putting out what I've created throughout this month. And I think at the top of every month, I'll do the music montage, storytelling piece. So all in all, stuff is coming together. It doesn't make sense. And if you're following along and you're trying to learn while I'm going through this, my biggest piece of advice to you is do not stop. Don't get discouraged. I got so discouraged. I felt like I had failed. I'm a very positive person, and I always try and see the bright side, and I try to keep going and stay determined and move forward. But I get lost in my own head, and I honestly hit a standstill where I was like, this makes no sense. I've put 3 weeks worth of time into this, and I hate it. It's not that I hate it. It just doesn't feel right. And when you put so much time and energy and you value something so much, you're just like discouraged. And you kind of want to throw in the towel, and it's just not a great feeling. But this is what you have to work through. Like, you have to keep going. You have to fail at this stuff to keep on moving. I just went to this talk, ended up at this place where they were doing public speaking, and one of the guys, I have no idea who this guy was, came out of nowhere, and he was talking about flow and creative flow, and like, how do you become the best at something? Well, you have to get your flow. And he said there are preconditions for entering and staying a part of flow. And to enter flow, the number one most important thing is interest. So we got that locked in. I've been doing this for like 10 years. I am clearly very interested in what it is that I'm trying to bring to life. The other conditions are structures and having challenges and having strategy and keeping the momentum going. So by having structure, which is the time management, which is the systems that I'm building, those are all structural elements that are helping to keep my flow going. By having strategy, so my strategy is to try this and then try that. All these different strategies that I'm trying, I have to see them through. And the only way to keep going is to fail at certain strategies and then to try new ones. And so I felt pretty inspired by this, because I felt like I'm doing these things. I'm challenging myself, I'm developing strategies, and I'm keeping the momentum going. And I'm not going to give up. I'm just going to keep putting stuff out there. And I got to tell you, there is this part of me that's just like, worried about what people are thinking. They're like, what is this? Like, this girl has no idea what she's doing. And you're right. I have no idea what I'm doing. But I am so sure I'm going to figure this out. I am hella determined and super disciplined, and I'm definitely going to figure this out. So it doesn't matter what people think. What matters is that I'm keeping this flow going and I'm figuring things out as we go along. And I'm just going to put stuff out to the world until it starts to make sense. And I know for sure it will eventually make sense. And I hope you will still be here. I hope you will have faith. And you know what? I also want to point out that this isn't about watching every 10-minute episode or every video that I put out. This is an ongoing story. And I believe this is a big thing in moving forward with this content obsessed generation, or this time and place that we're living in. There's just so much content. There's so many things you could be watching, and I do not expect for you to be tuning in and watching every minute of everything I put out. But I do think that in my creating this and having this exist, I can use all this down the line. And you can tune in here and there. You can watch a minute here. You can forget me for like 3 months and then be like, hey, I wonder what JGB's up to. I wonder if she's starting to figure this shit out. I wonder if it's starting to make sense. And you can dip in and see where that ongoing story is. And if it doesn't make sense, then you can watch the last 3 months of content. That sort of thing, this ongoing storytelling, there's this ambient awareness that you can just tap into whenever you're interested and you want to know what's up. So I'm just going to keep creating stuff. I'm just going to keep putting it out there because having it is going to help me to track and tell this story. And in the end, when I finally make it and when I've reached my goal of building this personal brand and my empire is like, pew, 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 I will have all this stuff to be able to say, this is how I did it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the process. This is the creative work that went into creating what I said I was going to do. And that's what I think is important about this, is I want to teach people how to create these systems and how to tell these digital stories so they can put their money where their mouth is, so that they can tell the story and show people, hey, you should pay me to teach you how to do this because I have already done it. So many people out there want your money and they want you to invest in them, whether it's entrepreneurs or coaches or whatever it is. They expect you to invest in them, but you have no way of knowing that they have actually done the work themselves. And this is a really great way of proving that you have done the work yourself. And that is my intention with this, is I'm going to show you that I can do this. I am convinced that I know how to get her done. I don't know specifically how I'm going to get it done, but I know I am going to put together all the knowledge that I have up here, and I'm going to figure it out. And then you will trust that I know what I'm talking about and that I am somebody you want to invest in. Well, I sure hope that that's what ends up happening. And I believe that I can do it. So hopefully this stuff will start to make sense. That's it for me.